Hi everyone, welcome back to Painting a Tuscan Villa. This is part 5 of our 6-part series where we are painting a Tuscan villa using an old Renaissance technique called layer and glazing, where we start with a monochromatic underpainting and we proceed to add color through a series of transparent layers of oil. And today is that day. Today's the day where we actually add color. It's a very exciting part of the process. Adding color is a 2-part process, and this is the first part where we will again just simply add transparent passages of oil paint to every inch of this painting. So that's really our objective. It's very simple. There won't be any sophisticated color mixing today. Our simple objective is to simply add transparent oil passages over all the shapes in this painting. Now, maybe half of the colors on my palette are transparent from the tube. For the ones that are not, I will be using liquid today. Liquid is a quick dry alkyd resin medium, and I tube my own liquid. I buy it from dickblick.com or jerry'sautorama.com, and I tube it, and it changes the viscosity of the paint and makes it set up very quickly and dry very quick. So let's get crack-a-lackin', and I will chit-chat more about this process as we go, but it's very, very simple. I always begin with a big puddle of transparent liquid, and if we look at our color reference today, this one's actually going to be quite simple. I'd say this is dominated by greens, and the only thing I've added to my palette today was a little sap green. I don't usually have it on my palette, but today I thought I would put some on since there is so much green in there. Sap green is a transparent earth, a warm earth color. I just love it. You can see how transparent I'm using the paint. It's very thin. I should say, look how thin I'm using the paint. I think one of the biggest mistakes I think students make is using the paint too thick. But look how transparent that is. So let's dig in, shall we? So watch how simple this is. We're just going to cover everything, and I equate this process or look at it very similarly to, well, let me unpackage it this way. In the 1950s and 60s, there were these novelty paint kits that you would get to tint black and white photographs. And these kits they came with a full set of dyes, a full set of colors. And that's kind of how I see this. This is very similar. You could look at this transparent monochromatic underpainting as a black and white photo if you wish, or in this case, a brown and white photo. And we're simply tinting it with color. That's it. It's not important that we get the truest color. We just want to tint everything. Now I'm going to stop right there and just show you the difference. So the left side to the right side, I've added color here. And this is the magic of this particular technique. I'm just using one green right from the tube. As you can see, it's a sap green. And it looks as though I have, well, in this case, in the monochrome, I have a dark, a mid-tone dark, and a light. But by just adding one green, it will ultimately optically appear as though I'm mixing 3 different greens. Really, just one green. If you look at the photo reference, you can see that this painting is dominated by the greens. And so this painting will go quite quickly. Okay. I did make another video on adding color to your monochromatic underpainting, and I will share that in a link here so that you can check that out. In that particular video, I paint, I think, 3 different paintings I tint. It's good to see, you know, in many ways, because this painting is so simple. It's almost, I almost just have to add these greens here and it's done, you know. But actually, there's some cool notes in the facade of the building. There's some warm notes in the sky. There's some cools and some orange tints right here, but as you can see, it's really quite simple. You've heard the dictum, value does all the work, but color gets all the credit. Never was that truer than in this part right here, or never was it revealed so convincingly in this part here. You can see that the value has already done the work, so really I'm just kind of staining it here. It happens pretty quickly. No fancy color mixing, just lay it on. Again, this is a two-part process. And so once this dries, then we get a little more sophisticated in the painting process. But that comes another day. That'll come in the next session, where we're fine-tuning the color and adding subtle shifts in warm and cool, adjusting the temperature. Like right back here, for example, this is certainly much cooler. These trees in the background, remember, as things go in the background, they get cooler and lighter. And so, even though I'm staining it right now, I don't want it to be as chromatic as the greens in the foreground. No fancy brushwork either, right? We're just really just covering paint here, covering the surface, staining, if you will. Again, look how thin I'm using that paint. Voila. Incredibly satisfying with little effort. I shouldn't say little effort. I mean, up until this point, we've actually put quite a bit of work into this painting. But this is the payoff, isn't it? Look at that. It already is beginning to look like... it's already beginning to look like something. Okay, we're getting a little glare on the painting. Maybe let me just adjust my lights. I don't know if that's going to help. Okay. Nope, not really. Okay. On we go. That's not pleasant, is it? All right, so I'm going to knock these trees back in the background a little bit. Get some of that chroma out of there. Even though we're using a quick dry medium, you still have plenty of time to use a rag and knock down some color if you feel it's too chromatic. Looks good. Okay, a quick adjustment of the lights, trying to keep things professional here. Had that terrible glare in the center of the painting that was coming up on the camera, but not where I was, where I could see it. So in any case, a quick little adjustment of the lights lets you see a truer picture of how the green looks. And so again, remember, as you're doing this, the objective is to cover all of the shapes in the painting. Now I can look at my photo reference and see that those greens aren't exactly perfect yet, but they're very close already. It's amazing to me still how quickly you get results with this painting process. I love it. Okay, so let's continue, shall we? Next I will get some clean liquid, make another puddle over here. And for my cool yellow, I started using transparent earth yellow a few years ago, after using yellow ochre for more than 20 years. I just love this color. It's very Italy to me. I don't know why. But it's very warm. I feel like I see the world in this color. Isn't that cool? Well, technically it's warm, but it is, I don't know, maybe it almost reminds me of like a sepia photograph, right? I just love that color. It's like instant nostalgia. And I'm going to just paint right over those greens I just painted. I want this to sort of inform the entire sky in the background there. Now that yellow is too full strength to me, but I'm just going to take a rag and wipe it out. Remember, you are completely in control here. A lot of this is really just made up. So I'm not slave to what was really there. I think the sky was actually blue when I was actually there. But this is my interpretation. Our objective is to have a poetic interpretation, capturing how we felt about the scene. And to me, arriving there in the Tuscan Hills, it was this overwhelming feeling of, first, the aesthetic beauty of the place, and then the heritage. You know, you're in the shadows of so many great art heroes. You know, all those Renaissance masters, Baroque masters. Just about every single art period that followed had some significant Italian who came from Italy, right? Tremendous amount of pride. My family heritage has Italian. I'm just going to tickle this color in other parts of the painting. One of the things we do is, once we have color on the brush, we say to ourselves, where else in the painting am I seeing this? I'm just tickling it around there. It's not full strength, but just a tickle. In many ways, the painting almost looks like it's done. Love this. Okay. Let's see. Now that road had had gravel, and it was a gravel road. And I'm going to get some fresh liquid using some cerulean blue. Even though cerulean blue is a semi-opaque to opaque color, with a little liquid, you can make it act somewhat transparent, which is, again, we just want to stain right now. Little touches. I'm not afraid of staying in the lines or anything like that. You know, if the brush finds its way into another section of the painting, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to get a little ultramarine blue. You'll be surprised at how quickly your paintings will be done with this step 5. And then once this sets, we will proceed to the next step and finish the color with by adjusting color temperatures, slight adjustments in temperature, hue, and value shifts, very subtle, but most of the hard work is really done here. I'll tickle some of that blue in these distant trees here, just to kind of knock them back a little bit. The way I'm using the color is, again, very thin. As you can see, I haven't really reloaded the brush yet, right? I'm gonna let some of the underpainting show through here, so the brush is, it's dancing around, right? Not covering every square inch. Just trying to get the desired effect. Look at how little paint I've used in the entire painting session already. Really not much at all. be afraid to use the stain, right? We've got a brush in one hand, which puts color on, and then a rag in the other to remove color if necessary. Take comfort in knowing that this is not the final layer, so you should feel free, right? All right, let's see. Now those rooftops, those wonderful pieces of clay, they're handmade. You know, if I had some burnt sienna on here, that would probably do it, but I'll just use a little alizarin crimson. And look at this little stain. I'm not painting wall to wall, covering every inch. I'm letting some of the underpainting show through. And it sort of helps, simulate the patina, the look of the paint on the surface of those little clay slabs that create the rooftops of these wonderful Tuscan villas and trattorias, however you pronounce it. Magical place. We're almost done with this particular session here. I'll add a little bit of orange to that, just a pinch. Again, look how little color I'm using. It's still humbling to me. Just staining, boop, just a little touch. These large terracotta pots that held the decorative trees in the middle of the courtyard. Just staining. It's a very cool composition. It's dominated by these cool greens. And I'm balancing these cool greens with these warm notes here. I've got the red slats, the red rooftops. I've got some orange right here and some orange notes right here. And I'll tickle a little bit of orange here as well, but it's mostly cool. The paintings derive their interest from juxtaposing elements. So if something's dominated by cools, it's important to complement them with a little warm. And as always, I ask myself, is there anywhere else in the painting there I could use the color that's on my brush? And this is a good question to ask, because in answering it, you end up decorating your painting with color that you might not have used otherwise, right? And so after the fact, when people are looking at your painting and they note how beautiful the color is, you can thank that practice for that. Where else in the painting am I seeing the color on this brush? This might seem like an odd place to put warm notes, but why not? Impressionists taught us that when you have cool and warm colors next to one another, it creates a vibration. And so if I tickle a little bit of the warmth down here, it vibrates, right? Let's see. Honestly, that could be it. Wow, okay. I think we're good, believe it or not. All right, just for fun, I'll tickle in some more color here, just for fun. And that's really it. Took about 10 minutes or so, and we have the entire surface covered. All of the major shapes are covered with a transparent passage of oil color. Again, a glaze is just that, a transparent passage of oil color, a dark color over a lighter one. This, my friends, is testimony to the fact that value does all the work and color gets all the credit. Remember, approximately 85% of the strength of the painting is derived from a strong value underpainting. So we are merely just putting decoration on top of all of the hard work that we already did. So this is really the last 15% of the painting. We are coming to the finish very quickly. So from here, the next step will be the big finish, where we add semi-opaque and opaque passages of paint. Thank you so much.